Hello, and welcome to the back room, where we talk about politics around the world, across the country, and right here in the Bronx. I'm Lisa Schiffren, your host. I'm a former Republican speechwriter, and
David Eisenbach, presidential historian.
tonight we're going to start by talking about Graham Plattner, the Democratic candidate for the U.S. Senate in Maine, who the Democrats didn't seem to mind when it became clear he had a Nazi tattoo on his chest, which he lied about and pretended he didn't know was a Nazi tattoo. Now, all of a sudden, he's being accused of rape by a woman who is also a liberal in Maine, a woman he dated on and off for some years, who he apparently, in a drunken fit, broke into her house and raped her. She seems very plausible. So all of a sudden, he's in trouble, and people like Bernie Sanders, who have been showing him around and praising him to the skies, Ro Hanna, the California congressman who also was a big fan of his, all these people are withdrawing their support. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if he's going to withdraw or not. It's totally up to him. He could stay in the race just despite them. He's demanding things to withdraw, like that he gets to pick the person who takes his place. It's not clear that the party will put up with that. What do you think is going to happen, David?
I think he's going to withdraw. I mean, he's talking like somebody who's taking a minute, assessing his things. If this were not a legit accusation, he would have been in denial. He's done this before, right? There are other women who have come out with
Well, he's been in denial about this too. He said, none of this ever happened.
Right, but it was then full steam ahead. Now he's kind of backing away. So I think he's in that negotiation point. He probably wants somebody more of his anti-establishment ilk. There's a guy who used to be the president of the Maine Senate, named Troy Jackson, who is another kind of Bernie bro that I think he probably wants to get the nomination. If the Democrats go that way, they're going to win. I think that Susan Collins is toast. I don't think she's capable anymore fully of doing the job.
I think she's fine. I'm not. She's not. I'm not a big fan because she's too liberal for me. But she has voted 10,000 times. She never misses a vote. She's
have you
totally
seen her
functional.
Talk lately, Lisa?
I have seen her
like
talk.
Dianne Feinstein.
No, it's not like Dianne Feinstein. Dianne Feinstein couldn't finish a sentence. Susan Collins is a little slow, but she's fine. She gets it.
She's a lot slow, and it's not going to get better over the next 6 years. That much I guarantee. So, her kind of like pretend moderate, but I'll vote for every war kind of act, that is done. And I think
she actually voted to impeach Trump the second time before 2020. She has voted with the Democrats on many occasions. She is a total centrist. One thing I find fascinating about this is that the Democrats are all of a sudden willing to withdraw Plattner. And I think it's because he was losing. I don't think it's because of this rape.
Oh, he wasn't losing.
No, he was losing.
The reason why the Democrats don't like Plattner is because he's anti-establishment Democrat. He's not a corporate hack like Chuck Schumer.
He's an anti-Semitic Nazi.
Well,
if you think
their problem is, believe me, that's not their problem. Their problem is.
I know that's not their problem. They love that. They think that's just fine.
He will be a challenge to them in the Senate, and they don't want anybody like that. And that's kind of where the negotiation is, because they want another kind of corporate Democrat.
The numbers I saw basically showed that he was in fact slipping behind Susan Collins. She was moving ahead of him, and I think that's why they're willing to let him go, because they want to win this at all costs.
Well, they all lined up against him during the primary, so he's had
not the National Party. The National Party has been with him.
No, they haven't. No, they absolutely haven't.
Also, the National Party is very, as we will get to later when we talk about the mayor of New York, the National Party is perfectly happy to put up with these DSA candidates, these socialist, communist candidates. Meanwhile,
That's absolutely not true. That's absolutely not true. Right? The National Party hates them because they are the force that they would rather lose to Trump than win with Bernie. We saw that in 2016. We saw that how they came out fully against Bernie in 2020. And that is the greatest threat to the Democratic establishment does not come from Trump or the Republicans. They're perfectly happy losing to them. They can even raise more money as a result of losing.
You know,
to
I
Trump.
just disagree with you entirely. I think they hate Trump so much that they're happy to even have these communists aboard in their party taking up space and voting against them rather than letting Trump continue to be president.
Yeah, no.
All right, let's move on.
These Democratic hacks do not care about policy or the good of the country. They care only about the good of the party and raising lots and lots of money.
Okay, we disagree on this because we've seen different things, I suppose. Let's move on to, we just went through the America 250 July 4th, which is a great occasion and something we should all be happy about and proud about. The Iranians decided they would hold a funeral for the dead Ali Khamenei, the same weekend to make their point, whatever point that is, about...
The point is America had this kind of fiasco of a 250.
I don't think it was a fiasco.
Nobody cared about, nobody showed up for. It was pathetic. Donald Trump thought he was going to have this great extravaganza that was going to celebrate him, and no one showed.
422,000 people showed up for fireworks on July 4th.
There was nothing to indicate anything close to that in terms of the cameras. Donald Trump said it, so it must be true, right, Lisa?
No, I think that was true.
Exaggerated. You know,
they were counted by the police.
Who had cameras on the entire event, right? Could show the world how
because the police were letting them in. They had an accurate count of how many people were there. There were thunderstorms, lightning storms that chased people away. So in the end, it was only 150,000 people who watched the fireworks at midnight on Saturday. But
well, anybody can come out for fireworks. Coming out for Vanilla Ice and a Milli Vanilli imitation act. Right? Nobody was interested in that.
And that didn't even happen because of the weather. So
this great American state fair, those pavilions were pathetic.
I think the fair didn't work out. I think the fair didn't work out. I think they didn't advertise it enough. And the weather, it was 100 degrees.
A mock-up of Donald Trump's great Arch de Triomphe.
You know what? I think all across the country, people went to their local fireworks and celebrated with the usual. It's not like there's some bizarrely ritualized celebration that we associate with this holiday. People have barbecues in their backyard. They hang out at home. Then they go out for fireworks at 5 o'clock and, you know, are in some high school stadium or some state park. So I think that's what people did. And I think people took it seriously because it is a big deal. 250 years of a democratic republic is, you know, that's an accomplishment.
It should be. It should be.
It's an accomplishment that nobody else has materialized.
It was a total non-event, unlike the Ayatollah's funeral.
Yeah,
You actually saw an outpouring of patriotism and religious fervor. And, you know, when you take on the great Satan and you beat him in a war, and you take on the little Satan and you beat him in a war, you know, you're going to get a patriotic outpouring.
You know, I actually read that there were about 100,000 people.
Oh, yeah, another 100,000, except that. The images that we saw.
Everybody
saw it.
Let me finish. The images that we saw were doctored. The images that we saw were AI. They are
AI generated. There is no fervor.
They closed down Tehran. No work was open. No shopping was open, and yet people did not come out to mourn because these people are waiting to mourn.
Not what I saw. It's not what I saw on every broadcast. on American network.
There are 90 million people in Iran. If 100,000 people came out to mourn, that's nothing. People.
There were celebrations all around Iran, and
Well, according
so
to the Iranians I follow on Twitter, they. This was just not the case. They focused their cameras on a couple of places, on a couple of famous squares, and got volume, what looked like volume, when in fact there wasn't so much.
Right. These are the same Iranians who you believed were, when they were saying the regime is about to fall, all Donald Trump has to do is drop some bombs and we're going to have regime change.
These are the same Iranians, I believe, when they say they hate the regime and they want to overthrow it. Whether they're prepared to do that or not because they don't have arms is a different question. We're going to have to go to break now. So please stick with us and we'll be right back. Thank you. Welcome back to the back room. New York's mayor, Zohran Mamdani, has had a pretty good week or two. He oversaw the election of 3 Democratic Socialists, that is communist, candidates to run for Congress, all of whom will be elected because they live in Democratic districts. So that will up the total of communists in our Congress significantly. He is becoming a kingmaker, which is shocking, given that he is a man who left Uganda a mere 7 years ago, and his mother brags that he's not really an American. It's fascinating and horrifying. What do you think, David?
I think it's fantastic. Taking on the Democratic establishment is the only way to save this party. The only reason why we had Trump is because it was run by these corporate Democrats like Hillary Clinton, who had nothing to say, nothing to offer. And Mamdani is giving people hope that there can be change, that we can take on the Epstein class, the billionaires who run this show.
That we can become a third world hellhole like where he comes from. Uganda. What a hope. Who do you know who's hoping to become Uganda?
Well, he's running New York City very well. I mean, the city feels all right. And
I don't see that.
I'm just telling you, I live in the East Village.
I live in the Bronx.
Things feel right.
In the Bronx, we have a lot of crime and people are not being punished.
Well, if there was so much discontent out there, 3 of his candidates wouldn't have taken out.
I think that was the result. That was the result of very small turnout and very motivated socialist turnout, all upper middle class white, especially women, all college educated, certainly not working class, which is what you pretend you're all about. This is all disgruntled,
Well,
underemployed college graduates.
I don't know how many white upper middle class college people are turning out in big numbers in Upper Manhattan to take out Espaillat.
There's a lot of
Who was-
gentrification in Inwood and Washington Heights.
Okay, but the Inwood is like the last great middle class neighborhood in New York City. So look, the people in New York City are fed up, not only with the establishment politics, but also Israel played a big role in all these races.
Yes, anti-Semitism is all over. I would never argue about that.
Anti-Israel sentiment, anti-AIPAC sentiment. That was
Yes, making
major issue.
AIPAC into a monster organization, as the mayor did, calling AIPAC monsters. That is classic anti-Semitism. The Jews control all the money. That's how we get people elected.
Well, I don't equate being pro-Bibi Netanyahu's insane war and the horror show in Gaza and having objections to that with anti-Semitism. As I said repeatedly, there are many Jewish New Yorkers who voted for Mamdani.
Not so many, less than a third.
Nonetheless, right? They're not all anti-Semites. They're not all self-hating Jews.
There are a lot of self-hating Jews. There are a lot.
Oh, God, right. Yeah, that old trope. Maybe they just disagree with what Israel is doing.
They're welcome to disagree with that. What they're not welcome to disagree with is the idea that Jews, like every other organized group of people in this country, including, say, teachers and people with unions, would have some organization that represented their interests, like AIPAC. AIPAC is funded entirely by American Jews to present an American Jewish agenda. You can like it or not. This is not something people should be scared about.
Well, the voters who voted in these candidates are fed up with AIPAC, including the guy who took out Dan Goldman, Brad Lander. So, Mamdani is the kingmaker. He has parlayed this power to force Kathy Hochul into kicking back money to the city. Somehow, and I still can't quite wrap my head around it, we figured out how to fill that budget hole. Now, I'm sure it's creative accounting.
I'm sure it's creative accounting, too, that doesn't hold up. And raising taxes is just sending people packing. I hear people talk about leaving New York within the next year all the time now. I've never heard that before.
People have always been talking about that. It's always been that. That's right.
No, but people are serious about it. They're leaving.
We'll believe it when we see it.
We're seeing it. We're seeing it. You can check the out-migration numbers to Florida, to Texas, to Tennessee. They're to North Carolina. People are leaving.
It's a slim number of people who are going to have to pay this billionaire's tax.
It's not just the billionaire's tax. It's the crime. It's the failing schools. We spend $40,000 a kid per year, and the teachers' unions won't make their teachers educate these kids.
Well, you're not going to get me to defend New York City schools and the amount of waste, fraud, and corruption that goes into that. But it's not going to be fixed by establishment Democrats who are just going to come in. It's
certainly not going to be fixed by a bunch of communists. They never fix these things.
At least there's a shot because they're at least talking about it. I mean, Mamdani has talked about going through the school's budget, making sure that the money is actually going into the classroom and not to educational bureaucrats. That's something you didn't hear from establishment Democrats.
But he's not going to do it because he's got the backing of the Teachers Association.
You can say that, but at least we got a shot with him. And
I don't see it happening at all.
And it's people's hope that is feeding this wave. And if the Democratic Socialists can pull through, they're not. This is a growing movement, and the Democratic Party is going to be forced to change in a very similar way that it was forced to change by MAGA.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it changed by MAGA, except it became the party of Trump derangement syndrome. Just anti-Trump, no agenda.
I'm talking about the Republican Party. until he started this stupid war with Iran, right? Neocons were on the outs. And there was this sense of, let's deal with America first. That still is very much there. If there's some way, and, remember when Mamdani went to the Oval Office and Trump, embraced him like this guy is
Yeah,
legit.
I thought that was a little over the top.
He-
You know
he
what I thought
gave
was
him-
really
He gave
interesting?
Mamdani more respect than any politician.
You know what I thought was
Republican or
really
Democrat,
interesting?
or even a foreign leader. No foreign leader got as much
On
kind of
July
warm
3rd,
embrace.
on July 3rd, Mamdani gave a speech as if it were his business to do this to the people of America about July 4th. He gave the nastiest, most condescending speech about America and American history that I've ever heard. And Donald Trump took him on the next day at Mount Rushmore, where he talked about how you can be a communist or you can be a patriot. And I think that's about 100% true. You can be a communist
right.
like Mamdani, or you can be a patriot. Mamdani is not an American.
Yeah. Well, Donald Trump also said that the rise of these communists, democratic socialists, greatest threat to America, bigger than Nazi Germany, Imperial Japan, World War II, Cold War, right? I mean, it was.
I would
it
not
was
say
like,
bigger than Nazi Germany, but I would say it's like that. I think
yeah.
Lenin didn't do any favors for 70 years of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was perfectly happy to get past that.
Yeah. Well, just picking on another enemy of the state and trying to ride that into popularity is not working anymore.
I don't know,
People are
picking
fed
an
up.
ideology that has been discredited every time it's been tried for 100 years, that has seen 100 million people die, that doesn't strike me as so smart.
Democratic socialism is a lot different than Stalinist communism. So,
There's no evidence of that. These people are.
there's no evidence that look, what do they want? They want Medicare for all. Like, that's their big issue.
And that works really.
Medicare for all.
That works really well in say England. That works well
of
in
Republicans
Canada.
Want Medicare for all. And any politician right now who's saying, "Oh no, the American healthcare system is fine," they're toast.
Because Obamacare wrecked it.
The scare tactic, it was broken well before Obamacare. Obamacare didn't really fix it. That's definitely true. But we got a lot more rights under Obamacare than we did before. And so
we got a lot more
Americans
costs.
Want this.
The costs went up
they are
ridiculously.
Sick of just handing over the reins of government to corporations and billionaires. And if the Democratic Socialists can deliver us from that evil, just like Trump promised to drain the swamp and do it, but failed. I
think Trump has actually been doing a pretty good job on domestic policy. Closing the border, for instance, that's a good thing, as opposed to letting in 20 million, 30 million unvetted people from God knows where. I think Trump has certainly done a good job with the economy, which is on its way to a serious recovery.
Oh, the last job numbers don't say that. And there were big revisions drawing down from last time. Last year, they overinflated the number of jobs they created by 2 million. We're close to underwater here in terms of jobs creation. Now, in terms of immigration, how about that Supreme Court decision, Lisa? I told you that his immigration, this idea that you birthright citizenship does not exist, was ahistorical and was going to get shot down by the Supreme Court.
I think the Supreme Court made a mistake, and I think it will be rectified with policy, because nobody really wants the children of illegals to be dropped as you cross the border and become Americans. They're not Americans.
Hey, it's in the 14th Amendment. You can't.
The 14th Amendment.
You got to amend the Constitution.
As you know, the 14th Amendment was written about the children of former slaves. It was
wrong about that.
It was not written about the people who.
There were congressional debates about the question of, does this cover immigrants? And the answer was yes. And that's what the Supreme Court went to. It's what I told you when this case started, that he's going to lose in the Supreme Court, because at the end of the day, the historical record is the historical record. The the framers of that amendment did want to cover immigrants, the Irish and the Germans that had just come in huge numbers.
Those were legal
And that
immigrants.
has continued up until this day and will continue until you amend the Constitution. There's no policy change. There's no executive order that can do it.
I think
legally.
they're going to go after the birth tourism, where 100,000 babies from China get literally brought to this country. Women come over pregnant. They have the baby here. They go back to China, raise the baby in China, and then the baby is an American citizen and can come here and vote at 18, or run for office, or become president. The Turks do this, the Russians do this, the Chinese do this. Other people do it too, but not in equal numbers. This is...
It's funny. In the World Cup, when Donald Trump called the FIFA president to get the red card reversed.
Yeah.
That player, his mom came over.
Yeah,
when
he was
pregnant.
an anchor baby. and look what happened.
And
we lost.
She had intended to go back.
Look what happened. We lost.
And we got an American kid.
And what good did he do us? None. We lost.
He was great. What are you talking about? He was great during the World Cup. That red card, I gotta say, I mean, he did not intentionally step on that other player, and the severity.
That's right.
That player stayed in the game, so it was too harsh to begin with, and so.
So you think it was wrong? You think it was right? Making the phone call was the right thing to do. You're admitting that. That's amazing.
Yeah, but whether it was the right thing for FIFA to go along with it, that's a whole other.
No, I think they did the right thing because they had made a mistake. I do think that it would be a bit much to expect that a country like ours that pays no attention to soccer, where our kids don't grow up playing it, would do all that well in the World Cup. We did fine. We got where we got. Now we're done.
We keep on hitting the ceiling of the round 16. One thing I'm grateful for is the Mets are so bad they're unwatchable. To have some sports to watch, it was a great run with the U.S. team.
Yeah. Now who are you rooting for?
I don't know. My wife's into Norway.
Yeah, and the Norwegians look good. They're so funny with their rowing. I love that rowing in Times Square and in these stadiums. They're very impressive.
So maybe Norway.
Yeah.
How about you?
I would go with Norway. Not that I actually watch any of this.
It's entertaining. Yeah, I was down on it going in, but like I said, the Mets are so unwatchable. I need something.
Right, it's true. All right, so FIFA and Trump, there's one where we agree. Thank you so much for watching tonight. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and come join us. Good night.